The help you are looking for to deal with COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. How do you keep your sense of optimism and your emotional state healthy when critical times happen, such as during this COVID-19 pandemic? What are the additional emotional states besides fear that create the likelihood for COVID-19 coronavirus to harm your body? And what can you do to neutralize these hidden negative emotional states to protect yourself? The challenge of maintaining optimism. Positive psychology can be especially challenging to maintain during times like this one, where panic runs wide and deep. One day you can think you feel balanced and just fine about things. From what you can tell, you seem to be thinking positively. And then there are other days that you're thinking, holy cow, this is crazy. Every single one of us is in grave danger. There is the complication that comes from what we call multiple conflicts. We start with the base conflict, the fear of the virus itself. But then people start having a fear of other things happening that piles more conflict on top of conflict. Right now, there's the added collective fear concerning the economic system. People are thinking, oh my goodness, all these people are going to be on the street without work. The pandemic is going to have a rippling effect on businesses. I've lost my job. One out of X amount of people has lost their jobs. What is going to happen to me? Will I be living on the street? What is going to happen to the world? This type of paranoia creates a lot of fear at a survival level. If you start having survival fears, you could end up having problems with your kidneys and so on. Also, you start to become more irritable with your loved ones. You may feel stuck in the house with them. Then you start having more general conflict in the house because you're not used to each other's habits while living on top of one another. Then you go into the grocery store and you think you're doing fine until you look at the shelves in the grocery store and it seems like a war zone. There's nothing on the shelves. It is all so uncommon and unsettling. When you add all of that to spending time in front of the news and all the negative talk on social network sites, you may find it very difficult to keep a level head. It can be hard to keep your senses through a pandemic like this one. To make things worse, currently, there is report after report of protesting that contains riots, vandalism, looting, violence, and even murder. All of this conflict piled on top of conflict that is happening in our environments and local territories is precisely the kind of psychological stress that creates the perfect human petri dish to foster a combined formula for bacterial and viral infectious disease. Where to start? We want to make sure that we are dealing with these multiple dynamic conflicts well so that our immune system doesn't end up over-aggressively attacking viruses, such as COVID-19 coronavirus, which then causes the virus to fight back. I've coached many who have been able to keep their attitudes in the positive zone. They say to themselves, I'm not overly worried about this pandemic. My business may go down some, it may change, but I'll survive it. It will all eventually mellow out, and I'm going to move forward. These folks are seeing future pictures of themselves being okay. They see themselves next month being okay. They see themselves 3 months from now doing fine. These are positive, optimistic, non-doomsday future mental visuals or pictures of themselves thriving. And it's helpful to have your mind thinking like this. This way of thinking is one of the means of how they can keep their emotions in check. They keep adjusting to the changes. They show flexibility. The other day, I got a little irritated because I couldn't go to the gym. I was annoyed. I thought, this is so crazy, I'm going to end up getting fat. I realized that I had to rethink this. I then intentionally intervened with my thoughts and said this to myself: show some flexibility here. The most flexible element in a system is the element with the most power and the most control. The person that does this will be the one most apt to survive, maybe even thrive. We are smart to show flexibility and adapt to what's happening in the world. What has now happened is unprecedented. We've never seen anything quite like this. It is going to change a lot of things. For some, these changes may be a negative thing. Some of the changes will be positive for others. For example, suddenly many have just discovered, wow, I can work from home and I like it. This whole thing is going to create new millionaires because you're going to have many things for sale that weren't for sale before. It is going to level the playing field in some areas. In any case, life is going to go on. There's going to be life after coronavirus COVID-19. I am sad that people have died from this. It's too bad. I wish I could put a big billboard out that says, "Don't die from COVID-19." Call me or someone that you know who knows about the emotional and psychological factors involved with disease and who have the tools to make sure that you have the cognitive settings to give you every advantage that you possibly can have. We want not only for your body to do okay with this virus, but we want you to do well emotionally, financially. You can thrive during these novel times. Many believe that the virus will mutate to adapt to humans. That may be possible because of the flexibility of living organisms. Viruses are flexible and find a way to continue living. And if that means not being so aggressive, or if that means not being so defensive, that's fine. If they can just hang on to that cell and program it to stay healthy and heal like they're supposed to, then the body will use that virus because it's available. Flexibility is critical for us too. Sometimes when you're floating down the river in a canoe, you come upon whitewater. What do? What can you do? You go with it. You put the paddle down and hold on with both hands and flow with the white water, even when it dumps you down a miniature waterfall. The canoe will take a dive, but it usually comes back up, and you're still sitting on top of the water. Life is like a river. Sometimes it's easygoing. Sometimes it's too mellow. You have to paddle to get moving. And other times, it takes you wildly downstream where there are rocks to navigate around. We want to be flexible to increase our chances of coping with these types of things well. There's more you can do. In the meantime, we could intervene and work with the unconscious perceptions that cause internal conflicts, because that is where the real problem is, not with the virus itself. COVID-19 sickness comes about due to hidden inner emotional conflict. The kind of stress that comes from this type of emotional instability causes your body to injure itself. In an attempt to heal, it uses bacteria or viruses as a form of a self-medicating potion. General forms of conflict within one of your territories, such as your home, your neighborhood, your family, your job, your community, your country, and even your world, can cause your bronchial tubes to expand. When bronchial tubes stretch too much, they tear and get small ruptures and ulcerations. In an attempt to help heal these injuries, your body uses the available microbes, such as coronavirus. In turn, when your immune system attacks the virus aggressively, you end up with an infection. It is at this point where the real danger happens. The best thing to do is to get your immune system in balance by reducing fear and resolving the stress that comes from inner conflict. Would you like to learn more about how to do this? If you haven't already, sign up for the reports to follow.